When you need someone to talk to and you don't know what to do, call us 4400. When you're feeling all alone and they turn their back on you, call us 4400. Call us 4400. Call us 4400. Call us.
Welcome to the Kind Counseling Podcast. I'm your host, Cami Roberts. Once again, we're here to give insights and to share information and bring light to various topics that affect our communities at large. Kind Counseling is a mental health practice that gives hope to the hopeless through mental health empowerment and spiritual insight. And today we got a great show for you. Going into the Mother's Day weekend, we're going to talk about adoption and the importance of mothers. All right, and today, our guest is actually one of our co-hosts, Mr. Deshaun Getty. So let's. All right,
Sean.
all right, and of course we have the lovely Danya Roberts.
Hi, Danya.
And
Hi, everybody.
And the one and only Fred Charles.
Ooh.
All right. So let's welcome in Mr. Deshaun Getty. How are you doing, sir?
I'm all right. Hey guys. Hey, it's good to see everyone.
Yeah,
Good to be seen.
Yeah, man. Listen, we really appreciate you. Giving us some of your time and also just being willing to share your story. As we talk about adoption today. Before we get started, I just want to do some quick statistics, right? Just to just let people know, about foster care and adoption. Just some quick statistics. All right. On any given day, over 437,000 children are living in the foster care system in America. All right, 437,000. All right. And some of these statistics are from the Kane Institute. Right. It says in 2018, over 61,000 children and youth were adopted out of the foster care system. Right. 51% were adopted by their foster parents and 35% by a relative. 26% were age 9 and older, which means the majority of kids that are adopted are younger than 9. Right. Of the families who adopted children from foster care, 68% were married couples, 25% were single females, 3% were single males, and 3% by unmarried couples. And lastly, 93% of the parents rely on adoption subsidies and or post-adoption services to help meet various needs and costs that children have, okay, who go through the foster care system, right? So there's a lot. And then lastly, I just want to say one last thing. The research suggests that single orphans, especially those who've lost their mother, are much more vulnerable than non-orphans to a wide range of dangers, including HIV, teen pregnancy, depression, suicide, alcohol, drug abuse, being institutionalized, malnutrition, and death. Okay, so it really talks about the statistics just show you how important it is that that children who are in foster care do get adopted, because it puts them at such a disadvantage when they're left in the system.
Yeah.
So having said all that, right, Deshaun, if you could just tell us just a little bit about like your background in terms of what led to you going into foster care. If you could just tell us a little bit about it.
Oh, from what I remember, what led me, all right, it's kind of a messed up story, but it's kind of crazy. All right, so let me break it down. So it was one weekend, my sister, my real sister, she went away to go see her dad, right? So she had to come back that Sunday, right? But she didn't want to come back. Like, she wanted to stay longer. But my mom at the time told her that she had to come. So she was all upset. Her dad was upset. But people knew that, and the apartment that we were staying in had way too many people. So what ended up happening was someone called DIFUS And that's all it took. So it was like me, my cousins. My sister was still with her dad, so it wasn't her. So we all just went until like the cops came. They just all took us, and that's all I kind of remember. And at the time, I was 5 at that time. So they all just took us, and then we went into like some type of like center. So I remember that. I remember the center or whatever the center was. So I was still with my cousins at the time or whatever. So it was in the center. Then they paired me and my other cousin up, and we went into like some family house for like maybe like a couple of days. And it was a nice family and everything. And then we left. It was like literally like 4 days. Then after that, we went back. We was back in foster care. It was the Children Aid Society. That's what it was called back then, the Children Aid Society. So back then, so after that, we ended up they split me and my cousin up because they thought we were actually brother and sister, but then when they found out like we were cousins or whatever, they split me and her up. So I ended up living with this one lady from like 6 to like 7 for like pretty much a whole year. By myself. And then that's when I met my foster mom. That following year, I met it's so crazy because there's so many thoughts that's going through my head right now. I'm so sorry. So now I'm 6, almost 7. So I was with one lady for a whole year, and she had other kids too. Then I went back to the Children's Aid Society, and that's when my foster grandma, who eventually adopted me, and I'll tell you that story, how I ended up getting adopted. I thought it was just going to be me, but it was me and 4 other kids. So when I first moved into her house, it was 2 girls and 3 boys. So it was like, it went from like being by myself to like, now I got all these like, like kind of like brothers and sisters. So at first, I was kind of taken back because it's not that I didn't want to be there, but I was uncomfortable, but she made it a home. She made it a home. But what kind of got crazy is because remember it was 5 kids at the time, and I'm the 5th child, so it was 5 kids at the time. So 1 year goes by. One of his kids, his mom came and got him, worked it out. So now it's down to 4. Okay, 4. So it's 2 girls, 2 boys. The following year, the other boy, his family came and got him. Oh, now it was down to 3. So I'm the only boy, and it's 2 girls. And I think within a couple of years, her aunt and uncle came and got the 2 sisters. So it went from 5 kids now. Now I'm the only one. Now around this time, I'm like really like 12 now. So literally within 5 years, like it's just me. And we used to go to the agency, when they have visitations. We go to the agency, and no one would show up. And that was, that was difficult, at the time. It just, I don't know, the situation on their side, but no one came. And at the time, I think I was about to turn 13, and we went, and remember, we lived in Brooklyn, and the Children's Aid Society was in Manhattan. So I remember she was much older, so we had to take the train and all that. So I was just about to turn 13. We went to go another visitation, right? She took me every visitation I was supposed to go to. She took me, and that was just amazing to me because so many times no one showed up, but we never missed. Like we never missed it. Like, she never said, "Do you want to go?" Like she always took me. So okay, so we go, almost 13, no one shows up again. And she, I don't know. I don't know if she was tired, but she was just like, "Do you want me to adopt you?" And
Mm.
and that's what she just like, do you want me to just adopt you? Because I was the only one. And and at the time, I just said yes, but I was just like, okay, like, all right, like,
Right.
I love it, but it was a huge deal because she never had a son. So on that level, what I didn't see, I think she saw. Like, she always saw me as her son, even though I didn't know, like, thought of it that way, but she did.
Right.
So, and that's always been.
Take your time, man.
Take your time.
Your time.
I guess that's always been kind of like special to me in a way, because not feeling wanted from your own biological family, whether they had issues or whatever the case would be, to have someone just show you unconditional love. Not when you're only being good, when you're getting on their nerves, when you're upsetting them, when they're tired, but you still aggravating them, and they still just, and like even with the battles, but somebody don't give up on you.
Right.
It's just like, wow, when they didn't have to,
Right.
they didn't have to. She didn't have to deal with my nonsense or my crap, but showed me that that she loved me in so many ways. And it just, I guess it when you think about it, you just, I'm just so forever grateful.
Right. That's an amazing story, and thank God for her. But I just wanted to ask if you could just backtrack a little bit. So you said when you were 5, who were you living with?
We were living at my my mother's, my real mom's house. So this was in like Douglas Projects, but it was a 2-bedroom apartment, but it was literally like 15 people there.
Okay.
Kids and stuff like that.
So this was your biological grandmother's apartment?
Right.
Okay. So what's going through your 5-year-old brain when Child Protective Services comes in and just start hauling kids out of there? What's going through your brain at the age of 5?
You're clueless. You're so clueless at that. You don't know what's going on. All you see is cop cars in front of the building. You're like, it's just like, it's kind of like a movie, because you're like, I don't know what's going on, but you just think that you're just gonna go somewhere and then eventually you're gonna come back. That's all you think, like, and but it was just so wrong, but it's been the best blessing of my life.
Right.
I don't know where I would have been at in life. So I'm on that situation too.
Right. And so when they remove you from the home, right? There's no other relative that they can take you to? Because did I hear you correctly when you said they took you to a center?
Right.
So there were no other relatives that they could take you to?
Well, you gotta look at this. This is what 85. So the crack pandemic was kind of out there, kind of big at that time.
Okay.
Most like family that I know of probably was on drugs or couldn't, step up to them.
Okay.
You're listening to the Kind Counseling Podcast. Feel free to hit the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now back to the show.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's I know it's been a while, but have you been able, or did you ever get in touch with your foster siblings, the other 4 individuals?
You know what's funny? I'm only in contact with the 2 sisters. We follow each other on Instagram and Facebook. Right. So, and one just had a birthday in April, and I wished her a happy birthday. Another one got one in June, and then my birthday is in May. So it's kind of crazy that you say that. So we still do keep in contact with each other. So it's like.
I'm just curious, like what kind of relationship did you have with your biological mom, like over the years? Like
what's crazy? Like I've barely knew anything about her. Like literally, like maybe 6 years ago, I found out like when her birthday was. Like I knew nothing about this woman. Like I knew nothing about her. Like I knew like she was my mom, but like I don't know. I guess as she was just to me wasn't fit to be a mother, and that's sad to say. But I'm grateful that she had me, but she just wasn't fit to be a mother. You know, now that I look at it, and she's still, you know, she's still dealing with certain issues that she has to deal with, and that's, you know, we really don't have a relationship at all.
So you don't remember her from when you were little either?
Barely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Go ahead, Cammy.
where was your biological dad at the time? Like, how
He was in jail.
say it again?
He was in jail.
He was in jail. Okay. So you didn't have much of a relationship with him either, like throughout your life?
No, throughout my life, yeah. You know what? I gave him about 2 chances in my life as I got older. Like I kind of reconnected him like when I was like around 17, 18, and he done some grimy stuff. So I was like, I'm not gonna mess with him no more. And then he did something to my brother, and then I was like, I'm officially done with him. And I just choose not to, you know, put myself in that line of fire again.
How has your personal experience as a child, and considering the relationship that you had or didn't have with your parents, affect your relationship with your own biological children?
Well, that's a good question, Charles, and I knew you definitely hit me with some great questions. It makes me want to do more. I feel like I'm a pushover. and so is my wife as well, because we know how it feels to not have, so we try to give our all, and I think that's hurting them in a way, because we don't give them that much responsibility, because we know how it traumatized us, but it really didn't. It actually helped us a lot, and we choose not to see it that way. But I think it just, I just choose not to be like them, like my biological parents. Like I don't want to miss my daughter's track meet. I don't want to miss my son's baseball game. You know, I want to see those things, and I want to be there and let them know that I am there for them. So, but
right. So it's kind of like you wanted to give your children what you didn't have, and have everything that you didn't have.
Right.
So that they would have everything you didn't have. Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let me ask, Deshaun, because sometimes I counsel people that have been adopted, and a lot of times they have like issues with like like whether it's rejection or thinking that people would abandon them.
Right. And you're right. I do have that. I do have that problem. I do have a problem of being rejected. I do have a problem of being abandoned. And I never knew that until someone brought it up and said, like, yo, you have a problem, because like if a person cancel on me and I end up getting like a little like, how could you cancel? Like, what's like, you know, and I didn't know why. And then someone was like, I see why, because of past. And I think that's what it comes from. Like seeing, like, remember I told you when I moved, with my foster grandmother, it was 5 kids. And the kids, each family member came and got them. And I always wondered why my family never came and got me. And I felt like abandoned, like, yo, like,
yeah.
You know? So, so it definitely does have an effect on when you get rejected, or when you're not, you know, on certain things. Like, I don't know. I don't even see it, but it definitely shows. Like, I'm like, oh, wow, I do get upset. I do get very angry when people cancel, or when, like, taking too long. Like, this even, like, I'm like, all right, you're going to be ready by 5? Okay. And it's like 5:10. I'm like, yo, what happened? What's going on? They're like, yo, relax. It's like, so.
Right.
I know you have your 3 biological children. Have you and your wife considered adoption?
Yeah, we talked about it, but as you saw, my 3 biological children makes me realize, I don't know if I want to take that. We try
Don't
to
want
get,
no more.
try to get free, you know. So, but as I get older, I think I definitely do want to do that. I think I do want to adopt at least one child.
Right. Because it makes a difference in your life, right? To have a good adoptive parent.
Right.
Right. And where are your biological parents today?
Okay, so from what I'm hearing, my mom lives with my sister in Manhattan, and my dad lives in Ohio.
Okay. And you don't have any contact with them currently? Wow.
Okay.
And they haven't tried reaching out to you?
You know what's funny? My brother hit me up and he mentioned it, and this is a really true story. It's just crazy. He called me like maybe like about 2-3 weeks ago, and he was like, "Yo, what's up?" I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" He's like, "Yo, our dad was in a coma for like 3 months," and I'm like, "Word, wow." Okay. And he was like, "Yeah, he was in a coma for 3 months, and they said he had COVID too, and he beat that or whatever the case may be, and he's fine, but he asked about you," and I'm like, And I'm like, okay, that's cool. But I feel like if you want to mend something or if you want to make things better, because you know what's sad? This is very hurtful. My dad has never saw his grandkids. That's one. And I remember my aunt took my kids for like literally for like a couple of hours. She lives in the Bronx. Very good aunt. And my mom came, and my mom didn't even know who her grandkids was. So asked her sister, "Who kids are those?" And she was like, "Those are your grandkids." And she's like, so on going back to that question, so he asked about me, but I'm like, all right, you asked about me, but you didn't ask for John to give you my number to actually come out to like reach out to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm reasonable enough to at least listen. I'm not gonna not listen, but I'll listen. So, but if people want to be in someone's life, they'll make an effort, and if they don't, they don't. You know.
Just Sean, I have another question. Like, at what age did you say like I know I'm not gonna go back to my mom anymore? Like, what age did you accept that?
When she asked to adopt me.
No.
Yeah, when she asked to adopt me, I knew I wasn't going back. But I guess it happened pretty much when we kept going to the agency and no one kept showing up.
So you just started losing hope.
Oh yeah, the hope was gone after like the 4th time. I was like, yo, nobody's showing up. And you know what?
Wow. So let me ask you this. Do you know, because I know for me, one of the things that helps me understand sometimes when people do hurtful things is what they've been through, right? So do you know your mother's story or your dad's story, your biological parents? Do you know what they went through, maybe?
Well, all I know is my mom never knew who her father was. And my dad, he lost his father at an early age, and he could never get over that. And only thing I knew.
Okay. So there was nobody else in the family that could fill in those holes for you, as far as, because they didn't know their biological fathers, but do you know how they grew up? Maybe like if they had good relationships. You don't know any of that.
None of that.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
You mentioned that you spoke to your brother, and you mentioned that your biological mom lives with your sister. How would you describe your relationship with your biological siblings?
Me and my brother was just funny because he's supposed to actually stop by today. We're cool. Me and my brother are cool. We have our fights. We're here and there because he does this, Kim, and he always asks me. He's like, "Yo, man, can I borrow $75? Can I borrow $25? Can I borrow?" And I'm like, all right, cool. He's like, I'm gonna give it back to you on Thursday. I'm like, all right, cool. No problem, no problem.
And never get it back.
Never gives it back. Never gives it back. And I'm like, but I feel like, yo, you're your brother's keeper. It's all good. I don't take it personally. That's why I don't send a lot amount. Like,
Right. Don't lend what you can't lose.
Right. Pretty much. But so we're cool. But my sister, she was doing the same thing, right? She kept, always asking for money, always asking. But it was coming. At first, she used to be like, hey, and I'm like, all right, cool. But then it was like this. I'm like, hey, hold up now. You forgot I got kids to feed too? But then my brother told me the real reason why she kept asking me for money is because he told me that she had a coke problem. So she was doing
okay.
I was like, I'm not giving her. Well, once I was like, I'm not sending you no money. It was like, all right, you're dead to me. So I was like, wow, okay.
Wow.
Is she still using?
I don't know, to tell you the truth. I hope she's not. I pray that she's not. But
So you're the eldest, D?
No. My sister's the oldest.
Oh wow. Okay.
My sister's the oldest.
But you're the one that's established, and you're the one that's grounded. So they probably look to you.
Right. But now my brother, he's starting to get grounded. He's starting, he got a good woman in his life. So now he's, sometimes you just need one good woman to change your whole. We're like, yeah, if you want to be me, you got to get this, that, and this. And now that path of, better himself. So it's always cool to see someone better themselves on those levels. So hopefully he'll start paying me back.
Oh yeah, maybe you can start borrowing from him.
Right.
Do they have kids?
Oh, my brother has 2 kids. My sister has 3.
And have you met them?
I met my sister kids and I met my brother kids. Yeah, I met them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And so do your children have a relationship with their cousins or no?
They don't. Wow. You know what? It's funny because so now I be talking to people, but I don't know who she be talking to half of the time. But sometimes I'm like, you talking to who? Because she talks to my brother more than me, and I'm like, for real? On those, but. And it's funny because Nala and my brother's daughter are like a week apart in age. So they're like, I think his daughter's a week older than Nala. So, but they don't have a relationship.
So let me ask you, like when you were like say in junior high school or high school, like people knew that you were adopted.
Nah,
like either
I'm
your
gonna
friends.
be completely honest with you. In elementary school, it was crazy. I was so embarrassed, and I remember a teacher saying something about like your adopted mom, and people was like, "What?" Like people looked like, "Who's adopted?" Oh, well, not adopted, or like your foster. Like she said something like your foster. I'm gonna call like your foster mom, and then people was like, "Wait." And I used to be so embarrassed because I really thought that it was because my parents didn't want me. That's why. And I didn't, that's a blessing. So I used to be so ashamed until I just overcame it. But I used to be embarrassed to tell people like I was adopted or I was in foster care or anything like that. I don't know why, but I just feel like I wasn't wanted.
So when did that turn around for you? About how old were you when you started to realize that, okay, it doesn't have anything to do with me, and it's just that my parents were in a place where they couldn't be parents to me? When did that start to turn around for you?
I think it more like sophomore or freshman year in high school. Yeah, it was more, it not maybe a little earlier because my foster grandma did something that made me realize that I was wanted. And it's so she took me to go get some sneakers, right? Easy. I'm all right, I'm gonna go get you some sneakers. So we go to like sneaker corner on like Avenue I and Nostrum. All right, cool. Right? So we go in the store and I think she had a mind like I'm only spending this, right?
Right. Like most mothers.
$5. Let's go. And I wanted these ugly Shaquille O'Neal sneakers. They had like the pump, it pumped up or whatever they had, the new pump. These sneakers at the time was $125.
All right.
Wow.
So it was $125. I'm not getting you those sneakers for no 125. So I like I said, I had a little fit. We walked back to the car. I was all upset. I really want this. Whatever. And she went back in that store, gave me a little lecture. You better wear these sneakers. Da, 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 da. And I was just like, I couldn't believe she was, but it was just like, you know, be ashamed for, because she did everything that a mother would do. So that's when it was like, to be ashamed no more. Like, come on, like you know, and the whole point, the purpose was like, I didn't know what bill she had to pay. I didn't think about like the responsibility that she had, that maybe she couldn't spend that 125, but she only, you know, so that said a lot to me as well. Like, okay, you know what, I am wanted because she didn't have, so.
Well, you wanted that because a real mama, I'd have been like, you ain't getting them shoes today. Get in the car and let's go.
Right.
Do you still have those sneakers? Because I think you should after.
I should have those sneakers, and I don't. I should have those sneakers.
Yes, absolutely. Frame them, something.
Wait, those are the Shaquille O'Neal sneakers with the circles on it? Those niggas?
No. It was some all black ones. The one, remember when they had the Reebok pump, right?
Yes.
But into like some like everything that you could put, and it was stupid.
Wow. And so you wore them, right, every day for like a year.
Yeah, I wore them, but it was just like, so.
Yeah, that's right. That's awesome. That's an amazing story.
Thank you.
Conversely, my mother bought me a pair of Buster Browns, and the end.
Yeah.
Loved it, right?
Buster Browns. Oh Lord, I tell you. Yeah, no.
So Deshaun, let me. I know that obviously your grandma recently passed. What are some of the best memories you have of her? Like, what do you most remember her for?
Just her like on Saturday and Sundays playing music, old school music. That was touching. You know, as you remember, I don't know, remember coming to my house, she always had a bar. You saw the bar?
Yeah, I remember.
She loved to drink, you know. That was one thing I miss. And she loved to party. She liked to have little events when her family came. And it was tough. It was just like, we take a lot of things for granted at those times. And so you look like, wow, like, man, you know?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking about adoption, and obviously there's always the argument of nature versus nurture. Obviously, there's nothing from nature that she's going to give you, but what would you say is the biggest trait or the most impressionable trait that you got from her?
Working. Working.
Okay.
That's what she did. Like, that's what I always used to see her doing. And I see myself doing that at times. I'm like, wow, like, yo, always working. Like, I need to, and I really wish she took more breaks in life. But that's one trait, is working. She always worked.
Wow. So you talked about having her to be that mother in your life. Was there anybody in your life that was like a father for you growing up?
Yeah.
Who was that? Was that like a relative or?
It was Cammy Roberts.
Oh God.
Nah. He really was a big brother. He was more like a father figure, but you really was. Really was, like, you know, because we met like 14. You know,
when you were 14 and Cammy was how old?
I was 15.
Right.
Yeah. But I always looked at him as a father figure, because he always held himself so highly. Like, you know, he wasn't in the streets. You know, he always talked about God and the Lord, and he was clean cut guy. Like, he was cool to be around, you know. So,
you know, I'm not paying for this, right?
But to be honest with you, Cammy's like a father figure to me.
Fred, you need to stop.
Yeah,
And we're closer in age.
Y'all need to stop.
Hey, this is Mother's Day weekend, right?
Does come off
This
like
a
that,
Father's Day episode.
but he comes off that way. He definitely comes off like a big brother, a father figure. He definitely comes off like he just wants you to do right and be right and love God. And
Can
you
I
know,
share something with y'all? He act like he's my father too.
okay.
Oh my God! Wow,
Yes.
episode has taken a turn.
So
Is you trying to be like a father, or you just want to be a daddy? Which one?
both.
Oh,
Yes. Oh, that's nice. That's so nice. I always thought like I know when I met you, I saw the connection that you guys had. So I instantly like considered you like the little brother I never had.
Right.
You know, but I didn't realize you saw him as that father figure.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. That's so nice.
that's nice of you to say, man. Hey.
He's blushing right now.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just blushing, man. But what Deshaun, listen, man, I think it takes a lot of courage to share your story, man, because there's like I said, there's people that I counsel that's something that they're really ashamed of, and they don't tell people that they were adopted, or that, you know, like you said, like there's a lot of embarrassment around it, and I just want to thank you for like sharing that, because it takes a lot of courage to share that story, man.
Yeah. And I can relate to some of the things that you even said, because my father is adopted. And and so now as he unfortunately did not have a good adoptive experience. So there were a lot of things that when we were growing up that, you know, you just don't understand. But now as an adult, I see the place where those things were coming out of, you know, like the rejection, the abandonment, his never knowing his mother at all, and his father abandoning him as a little boy. So a lot of things come out of that. A lot of things are manifested as a result of that experience. So now as an adult, I fully understand it, you know, so I can definitely understand when you say that you were there with shame around that and not feeling wanted. My dad was somebody that was like that, always felt like people didn't want to be around him and stuff like that. But it's a serious thing. But for you, I think it's just wonderful that you had that experience, that positive experience, that you had someone embrace you and adopt you and love you like her own, because a lot of kids don't get that. Especially when they're adopted. I've heard people say that, you know, I was adopted, but I was treated like an adopted child. Yeah. There was preference given to the biological children over the adopted child. So the fact that she did that is wonderful, and proof that more than she loving you, but that God loves you as well.
Right.
So
that's how I looked at it too, because yeah, you're absolutely right. Because that shame is always, you feel that shame on you, but when someone shows you that there's nothing to be ashamed of, and you start to see it and believe it, it's such a huge relief.
Right. Yeah. That's an amazing story. So when you writing the book?
Oh.
Okay.
So when's the book coming out?
I don't even know.
You writing it soon?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Okay, all right. So it's the kids, man. I always want to be part of it, man. But listen, man. Obviously this Mother's Day weekend. Just want to wish you guys, Danya Roberts. We wishing you a special place. Happy Mother's Day. But yeah, listen, man. So we gonna wrap it up, man. And once again, Deshaun, thank you for coming through, man. Just sharing the story, man. I think it's an encouragement to a lot of people.
Yeah.
It just sheds light on what foster children and adopted children go through. So, you know, we really thank you for the information and sharing your story.
Yeah. And start writing that book.
Yeah.
that's an inspiring story. It could help a lot of people.
This is true.
Yep.
We're gonna stop here, and you guys enjoy the weekend, and we'll see you next time on the podcast.
All right.
All
cool.
right.
Well,
Bye.
take care.
If I ever took a loss, I learned a lesson. I won't ever think I'm better than the next man. I've been down before to come up, I ain't stressed.